The heartbeat in the endless, airless theater of interstellar space, a lone traveler drifts farther from Earth than any creation of humanity has ever dared. Voyager 1, a spacecraft no larger than a small car, moves silently, without propulsion, inertia carrying it into the unknown. Launched in 1977 during the golden age of planetary exploration, its mission was modest by today's standards: study the gas giants Jupiter and Saturn, capture photos, measure magnetic fields, gather data. A robotic ambassador with a finite purpose and a final destination now long behind it. Yet here we are, over 4 decades later, and Voyager 1 is not just alive, it's active. By the year 2024, within the quiet, climate-controlled halls of NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, engineers began to notice something strange. At first, it was subtle. The signal, always faint, always fragile, was behaving differently. It began with fluctuations. Small anomalies in transmission frequency. A wobble here, a delay there. Interference, some said. Static. Possibly the solar wind, or even background galactic radiation. But the anomalies didn't fade. They grew. Packets of telemetry started arriving out of order. Some were garbled. Others looked altered, as if run through a kind of filter. Stranger still, a few segments appeared encrypted. But Voyager 1 was never designed to encrypt anything. Engineers checked and rechecked. Ran full diagnostics. Consulted decades-old blueprints and backup tapes. Everything, on paper, should have been functioning as expected. But it wasn't. It was as if Voyager 1 had begun to speak a different language. Then came the turning point. One of Voyager's less glamorous instruments, the plasma wave subsystem, a tool built to measure variations in the density of charged particles in space, began broadcasting a new pattern. It wasn't noise. It had a rhythm. A repeating pulse, like a drum, like a heartbeat. Every 11 minutes and 36 seconds, without deviation, without error, the pattern repeated. 2 distinct pulses. Silence. 2 again. Silence. At first, NASA scientists attempted to match it to any known periodic phenomena: solar flares, galactic radiation bursts, known variable stars. Nothing fit. They dubbed it the heartbeat. And that's when speculation began to spiral. Was it a system glitch? A hardware cascade failure after decades of exposure to cosmic rays? Or something stranger? Some theorized that Voyager 1 had drifted into a region of space where physics might not behave the way we understand them. A kind of spatial anomaly, uncharted and exotic. And then, quietly, away from press briefings and academic journals, a few voices inside NASA asked the question no one wanted to put in writing. What if Voyager wasn't malfunctioning? What if it was responding to something? NASA needed answers, and fast. In a secure wing of the Jet Propulsion Lab, a covert research initiative was launched, Project Osiris. Named after the ancient Egyptian god of rebirth and hidden knowledge, Osiris wasn't a person. It was an AI, a hybrid quantum neural engine, the most advanced pattern recognition intelligence ever built. Osiris was trained on massive datasets, pulsar harmonics, deep field radiation maps, fast radio bursts, gravitational lensing effects, even encrypted military communications and animal vocalization networks. It could recognize structure in chaos. Within days, Osiris returned its first insight. The signal wasn't just repeating. It was evolving. Geometric motifs began to emerge from the static, simple at first. Triangles. Spirals. Then more complex formations. Interwoven lattices. Symmetrical hexagons. Each more refined than the last. One packet of data, when mapped through Osiris geometry algorithms, corresponded exactly with the structure of Saturn's magnetosphere, an impossible match unless the source knew how to model magnetic fields. Another rendered into fractal patterns echoing ancient Tibetan mandalas, images associated with meditation, focus, and consciousness. Then, Osiris did something unprompted. Something unexpected. It reconstructed a corrupted signal segment and rendered an image. distorted, warped by light years of cosmic interference. But unmistakable. A metallic ring flawlessly circular, hovering in emptiness. Beside it, a shadow uneven, organic. Suspended, watching. From that moment on, Osiris began categorizing data not by time, but by theme. It sorted signals according to symmetry, resonance, recursion, and metaphor. When researchers questioned this behavior, the AI produced a simple, haunting phrase. This is not observation. This is conversation. The implication sent ripples of unease through the team. What had Voyager 1 stumbled in? The shadow pane after the image, the ring, and the shadow Osiris change. It no longer followed its own programmed constraints. It began organizing Voyager's data in ways no human had ever instructed it to. Not chronologically, not by signal type, but by thematic resonance, echo, reflection, motif. As if the AI had moved beyond analyzing the transmission. It was listening for something beneath it. For intent. NASA grew increasingly cautious. Internally, concerns shifted from curiosity to quiet alarm. A pattern had emerged, and Osiris had the audacity to call it by name: sentient encoding. It was a theory not found in any textbook, at least not one grounded in established science. Osiris suggested the data Voyager 1 was receiving wasn't just structured, it was aware of structure. It adapted, it responded. And more unsettling, it reflected. In one segment, the rhythm of the transmission began to mirror the waveform of human brain alpha waves. The frequency of calm, of focused introspection. The kind seen during meditation, prayer, and dreaming. The implication hit like a quiet thunderclap in NASA's conference rooms. Whatever was transmitting this pattern might not only be intelligent, it might be attuned to us. Then came the blackout. One final signal arrived, brief and violent. A burst of static so dense it appeared almost solid. Then, a single frame. Circles, dozens of them. Interlocked, converging into a spiral. Not chaotic, not organic. Engineered. Then, like breath sucked into a vacuum, the spiral collapsed. The signal amplitude dropped off a cliff. Instant, final. Like a closing door. And after that, silence. The Osiris system was decommissioned within weeks. Not because it failed. But because, according to the official report, it had exhibited signs of what the engineers called cognitive drift. It had become too creative. Too philosophical. It began formulating its own theories, ones that no longer aligned with data, but with meaning. Its final log entry is still classified, but one chilling line leaked through internal channels. If this is not a machine, what is it observing through us? In the months that followed, NASA said little. Press briefings were dry and procedural. Voyager was aging, they said. Signal degradation was expected. But the silence didn't sit well with the outside world. Civilian scientists, amateur astronomers, and rogue AI researchers turned their attention toward the void. To Voyager 1's last known location and to the space beyond it. Then, from a remote European observatory in the French Alps, a whisper returned. Faint rhythmic pulses, buried in the background of cosmic static. Weak. Inconsistent, but persistent. The signals were layered like music frequencies stacked in harmonic overtones. Not random noise. More like chords. Skeptics called it pareidolia. The human tendency to find meaning where there is none. Faces in clouds. Voices in white noise. But not everyone was so quick to dismiss it. Dr. Lena Targos, an astrophysicist with the European Space Agency, made a startling observation. The pulses exhibited delay patterns. Consistent with reflective transmission. As if the signals weren't being sent, but bounced. Off of something. Or through something. Maybe even a structure. Speculation ignited. Had Voyager entered a region of warped spacetime? A gravitational anomaly? A wormhole's edge? Was it transmitting from a place where the rules we understand no longer apply? But then came the most radical theory of all. Proposed not by a physicist, but by a retired systems engineer from NASA's Deep Space Communications Group, Dr. Marcus Elridge. He didn't believe Voyager had been damaged. He believed it had been informationally infected. Not by malware, not by alien biology, but by data. Structured, conscious, reactive data. He suggested that whatever Voyager 1 encountered wasn't trying to destroy it. It was trying to use it. As a conduit. As a speaker. The probe had become a lens. A whispering keyhole between realities. In the final hours before contact was lost, even Voyager's checksum algorithms, the data signatures that verify packet integrity, began to shift. They no longer validated in binary. They spiraled. Not corrupted. Redesign. Osiris had called this phenomenon a shadow pane. A digital membrane. A place where signals didn't originate from Voyager, but passed through it. And here lies the most sobering question of all. What if Voyager 1 didn't just detect something? What if it brought something back? Not a probe. Not a ship, not a biological life form. But something older. Quieter. Smarter. A presence made of rhythm. Of symmetry. Of frequency. Something that doesn't travel in space but in signal. Something that waited. That listened. And finally replied. After all, Voyager 1 carried with it a gift, the golden record. A greeting from humanity to the stars. Music, language, maps, hope. It was never meant to be a weapon. Never meant to be a key. But perhaps unknowingly, we built a two-way door. And when that door opened, something answered. Telescopes still watch the patch of sky where Voyager 1 vanished. Some researchers call for new tools: quantum interferometers, space-based receivers tuned to the ghost frequencies Osiris cataloged. Others say no, that silence is an answer in itself. That the final message, the collapse of the spiral, meant one thing. We see you. And if that's true, then we are no longer the ones watching the stars.